Hey everyone, Marathon Hurdler here, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. I was making some tweaks to my homepage today and realized that I could upload a trailer video, so I thought I'd make a quick 10-minute or so video just to talk a little bit about myself, this channel, and what I hope to do with it. As for me, I am just your average graduate student who happens to really like JRPGs. I've been watching people make Let's Plays and walkthroughs on YouTube for quite some time, and it always seemed like a pretty cool thing to do and something that I would personally like to do as a hobby. So last year I started this channel with my Final Fantasy VIII Max Stats walkthrough, and things kind of went from there. Now, I had to take a bit of a hiatus from last August up to about the end of March due to school and some other reasons, but now I'm at a place where I think I can find a better balance between work and life and this new hobby. As for my uploading schedule, I upload videos Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. At some point, I would like to start integrating a second project with my major project, which I could upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But once I get to that point, I'll probably upload a second video to kind of discuss discuss my new uploading schedule. But for now, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is kind of the set schedule until I say otherwise. As far as the type of games I like to play, again, big fan of JRPGs, so you can expect a lot of JRPGs on this channel. Now, what I want to do in particular with this channel are two things. One, I'd like to play some games that are pretty popular, but try to do some things that are a little bit different than what you would normally see on with playthroughs of these games. So, for instance, my Final Fantasy VIII playthrough, even though that's a game that's been done a lot, what I'm doing differently is I'm doing a Max Stats walkthrough, which early on is basically a no-level walkthrough. And it's a little bit different than what other people have done with that channel, or not that channel, but that game in the past. And moving forward, if I do popular games like the Final Fantasy series, that's likely the type of thing I'm going to do. So, for instance, I might do a Max Stats run for Final Fantasy IX, or a Excalibur 2 run, or I might do something like that. So that's kind of the game plan there. But in addition to that, I'd also like to do some games that have not been done as much, but should also be interesting. And in particular, there are a lot of games that have come out for the PSP and PS Vita over the last couple of years, which are really cool and really interesting in terms of the types of JRPGs that are out there. So what kind of happened, it seemed like for a while, was you had this big rush of JRPGs that came out in the last 3 or 4 years, which were smaller projects, but tried out some different mechanics that were really interesting, and I think those are really cool to show off. So those are the types of games I'd also like to show off, especially once I get to a point when I can record and put up videos every weekday. I'd really like to make those side projects new games where I'm not necessarily going to be doing a perfect run or a max stats run, and games that I might have less experience with, but games that are really cool and might give people who haven't really explored these types of games or haven't had the opportunity to see these games in action to kind of see what they might look like. Now, in terms of what I hope to build with this channel and what I kind of hope to see from you and what you can expect from me, one thing I'd like to say is that I am very much open to feedback, and I'm really open to feedback on just about every level. Especially right now with my presentation, I am using the Elgato Game Capture HD, but it's admittedly not the perfect recording device. Sometimes the audio is a bit off. I've had a hard time finding the right balance between my voice and the game volume. So if you think that there's a bad balance there, or if you think my voice is too loud or too quiet, or if I'm talking too fast or too slow, or I'm not being clear enough in my explanations, feel free to let me know, and I will try to adjust my approach from there. One thing I should point out regarding feedback, though, is that if you have feedback regarding particular items in the game, so for instance, you see something I'm doing in my Final Fantasy VIII playthrough, and you want to remind me not to forget something, or you know of some cool secret that you want me to see, one thing that I need to point out is that it's not always going to be possible for me to integrate that feedback into my videos. And the reason for that is I typically record a bit in advance, so I often record a week's worth of videos at a time. And I do this because my schedule is a little bit crazy at times, and it's hard for me to find consistent time to sit down and record videos on a day-to-day basis. And so what this means is, if you're giving me feedback about things in the game, I may not be able to get to it because I may have already moved past that point in the game. Now sometimes I can go back and re-record an episode, and maybe I will if it's really important, but I generally try not to re-record episodes unless I really need to, simply because my schedule can be a bit crazy. But just know that if you have feedback for me, I'm always listening, and I will certainly try to integrate as much of it into my videos as possible. Other things to consider are, I'm also open to listening to feedback regarding the types of games that I play or which games I play. However, I will try to keep it within the JRPG library, and it needs to really be, in particular, I'm looking at games that are PS1, PS2, or PSP and PS Vita. And the reason, and by PS Vita I mean games that are actually for the PSP, but that can be downloaded on the PS Vita, because I can't actually record off of my PS Vita with the Elgato. And the reason for this is my computer seems to be having some trouble, or seems to have trouble, editing videos that are for PS3 or higher. It causes my computer to kind of crash a bit, and the Elgato in particular software to crash. So if you have games that you're interested in seeing me play, either for any of those systems, feel free to let me know. And I'll try to give you guys an update every once in a while, especially as I get near the end of a project, to kind of say, hey, this is the type of game that I'm looking at for next. But I think that's really just about everything that I wanted to discuss in my channel, and I hope that you guys are interested by what I'm hoping to do here. And if you like JRPGs and you want to see some different ways of playing games that you've maybe played in the past, or you're interested in checking out some new games that maybe you haven't had a chance to look at, I hope that you guys will come back and stick around. Until then, this has been Marathon Hurdler. I want to thank you for checking out this video, and hopefully I will see you in the future.